I think the two most prominent and recognized filmmakers from Japan from the 50s and 70s are probably Akira Kurosawa and Yasujiro Ozu. Kurosawa being known mainly for his large-scale samurai epics, and Ozu being known for quiet pieces reflecting life, both from the same place and era, but both being so different stylistically. So I just want to compare how each has their own beauty in their films and how the people and environments inside them reflect that. The first thing I want to show is two scenes, both with weather as their focus.
Hello? Mga tari! Nani nga na dyan? Ikaw ang sarili!
Nani nga na iya?
Kung na rin ang desawar mo kay, sekundari! Kung na rin, ano ya ko ni nan no ibon nga ano ya? Why nga na? Sigari niya ay niti nani nga waru. Kung ako niya ako nga nani nga waru dyan. 文句合うか文句あったら言ってみ青
偉そうに言うことだけは立派やな。
何クラマ
ようもそんな口が聞けるな。そんなことうちに言えた義理か。
何やと
忘れたんか岡谷のこと。誰のおかげで助かった思うとんのや。豊川の時かてそやないか。こんなんのたんびに頼む頼むってうちにその頭下げよって。
何う
ちがなんだらどうなってる思うとんのや。そのたんびにうちが旦那衆に泣きついてやったからこそどうにかこうにか今日までもっとんのやないか。あんまり偉そうなこと言わんとき。
何を
なめたまねせんとき何やと思うとんねや。
何を何言うかすお前がじゃお前以前のこと考えてみ山中温泉の獅子やないかい。ワイに惚れよって転がり込んできよってどうやら一人前にならしてもらった誰のおかげや誰の。
Both scenes have something to do with rain. Ozu's has a lot more blocking and depth in the frame, along with all the colors just being beautiful. But Kurosawa's feels chaotic, but at the same time allows you to ask questions of what happened at this temple. This beautiful temple destroyed with rain pouring down on it is beautiful in the chaos. These scenes are very reflective of each director's career and how they told their stories. Kurosawa has rain last throughout the story to be there as we hear the horrific story told by these men, along with things like Seven Samurai having a lot of action occur during the rain and sadness being present in the rain, while Ozu sees it as beautiful and something that passes and is not a build-up to chaos but a pleasantry of life, along with many other elements of Ozu's films. One is a quiet look at a beautiful moment in life, and the other is chaos in a beautiful way that strikes you with their imagery in both. Yasujiro Ozu's films are small pieces of life with many characters who feel very real and have different things about them that make them special. But I think what really tells you when you are watching an Ozu film is, 1, it feels very small with no plot or real stakes, to be honest. 2, a more obvious one being the camera and how it films things, unmoving. There are many shots of stillness that evoke a beauty in that stillness that is very calming and brings you to a place of meditative happiness that you never want to leave. For me, that feeling is sitting poolside during a hot day in the fall with my family in the south. Being there, the stillness of the water and all my family members isn't a feeling I have felt in a film until Tokyo Story. Now, despite that movie focusing less on the happy moments of being with your family and more of the ones of sorrow, it still has moments of bringing me back to being with my family, sitting there, watching the stillness of the world and taking in all its beauty. Ozu is able to find beauty and focus on it, and I think what really adds to that is the stillness, unmovingness of the camera. In an Ozu film, you will rarely, if ever, see the camera move. It sits and watches these people or objects for a while and not move. And while this could be boring, one of the final things that Ozu adds to his films is his depth. If you look at any shot from an Ozu film, you will almost always see a good amount of depth to every shot, which adds so much with the people in the foreground and background. There is no depth of field and everything is in focus. So just all these shots are just still and have so much depth that you just can't help but take in their beauty. Two things that are also a part of Ozu's repertoire are his composition that adds texture to the frame and pillow shots. Both of these are more well explained in Royal Ocean Film Society's video on Ozu, so I doubt I could ever do them justice, so I'll just play what he said.
They'll talk and there'll be some interaction, and then a certain phrase will end and he'll cut outside and he'll show something, a window and a roof line, or a tree and a street, and he'll hold on that and then he'll come back inside. He's using it as punctuation. It's a form of silence. It's a form of saying, let's not rush headlong from each scene to the next scene, but let's say, okay, this has happened, and now we'll kind of look out the window and think about it, and now this has happened, and now we'll take another moment. And that use of the pillow shot gives his films a kind of thoughtfulness and pacing that becomes really important to you after a while. You begin to appreciate it.
Ozu has a ridiculously good eye for gorgeous composition. It's often said that he would deliberately screw up the continuity from one shot to the next just to make the image more attractive. Do you see the statue of Buddha in the lower right-hand corner? As soon as the actors finish their performance and close the curtains, it moves position. Why? Well, it looks good here, and it looks good there. Do you really need another reason? Move a prop for better shot? Go for it. Break the 180 line? Who cares?
There are no shots in an Ozu film that are only in order to further the story or to provide information. Every shot should have an intrinsic artistic interest.
Take any one of his wides and you'll see that they're often framed in a very similar way. They're always floor to ceiling, they're shot from a low stance, and if you look closely, there's often a frame inside of the frame.
To conclude, Ozu was able to find beauty in life and capture it in a simple yet complex way with depth and composition in the frame, while Kurosawa did something different. While Ozu had quiet beauty of life and people. Kurosawa pulled beauty out of chaotic situations. And I think the best example of this is when Lord Hidatora walks out of the burning tower and down the stairs in Ran. It is such a striking image that almost completely sums up what the movie is. The Lord giving his kingdom to his sons, and due to his inability to just let them run the kingdom, it all comes burning and crashing around him. And to add more to that, the entirety of Ran is full of chaotic beauty. Now, what exactly is chaotic beauty? To me, it's how they use elements, and mainly fire. When you look at a flame, whether big or small, at least to me, there's just some beauty in there, despite it being signified with chaos and evil. It moves smoothly and calmly, but if there's enough, it can destroy houses and personal items, which creates this chaos, but it is still something of beauty. Like rain, it can be beautiful watching it fall, but too much can flood and destroy things. And I think this is what Kurosawa uses it for. He takes these things that in small amounts can be beautiful and helpful, but makes them chaotic, but still retain their beauty, and that is also because of movement. While Ozu restrains movement from the camera and even the characters in the frame sometimes, Kurosawa goes all out with movement. He is known for his incredible use of movement in film. There are so many instances of the camera having incredible movement, like a shot from The Hidden Fortress where the camera goes from a wide to a close-up to another wide to an over-the-shoulder, all in a single take and very few camera movements. And this can feel chaotic, but it's also beautiful in its execution due to how smooth it all is. Kurosawa moved the camera and the people and the environment in his films. All his shots with nature were never beautiful like Ozu's. All his shots with nature were never beautiful like Ozu's, but beautiful in their own destructive way, like this scene from Yojimbo and a burning building behind a man. It is beautiful and tells us something about him and his character, showing that he is evil with the lighting and the camera movement, looking up at him, and fire feeling inherently evil. You can just see how evil he is. The nature helps us piece together thematically what is happening. When there is wind, it signifies uneasiness and tension. Like at any moment, something could be swept up and everything could go wrong, or something is about to. Like this standoff from Yojimbo. Or maybe you can use rain for a climax and the peak of the conflict in Seven Samurai. But you don't have to do that. Fire can be used as a symbol of loss and sadness. Again from Seven Samurai.
Hey! どうした?こいつは俺だ!俺もこの通りだったんだ!
Or the wind could add texture to the scene and add movement, which every frame of painting covered better than I could ever do. So I will put that video in the description as well. But basically, he said there are many types of movement, but you don't have to use every single one every time to create a picture that lasts forever. While not all of Kurosawa's moments of beauty are found in the chaos, it is very common and what he is most known for, I feel. Kurosawa had a picture that worked well on its own, but even better together. While Ozu created many individual pictures, each with their own texture, and both that will last a lifetime. One with a huge scale that helped create chaos and find beauty in that chaos, while the other had a small scale and found beauty in life. Both artists creating art at the same time and place, but both creating different films. But what about someone with artificial beauty?
Yes, John. Good. Now it's just a question of reassembling the components in the correct sequence.
I feel fear for the last time. A token funeral is held. There is nothing to bury.
If you were to ask me what I thought artificial beauty was, I would think of Zack Snyder. While his films look visually striking, I think the beauty inside of them doesn't feel natural, like it could only be inside film. Like Dr. Manhattan's origin scene where he is evaporated, and it feels like it could only be achieved in film, which could bring up the argument that films aren't supposed to be like real life and be something you could only see on the big screen. But I would like to argue that film is personal to our lives and affects us, and that being able to have an experience in film that we would have in real life feels special. But then again, film is subjective, and in a time where people want others to have their exact opinion, I think it's cool we can have two forms of beauty. One that is created through computers, and one is just one that anyone else can go out and do. And whether you like artificial or naturalistic, I think they are both very important. And this isn't an argument that one is better than the other, because it's not true. You can like both, or you can prefer one. I don't think it matters which one you like. I think there's one for any of us. But I do wish we saw more of the naturalistic beauty in life. Beauty that could be found and put onto film, instead of ones that can only be found in film, where we pretend that something is some way when in reality, it's not.
負け戦だったな。いや、勝ったのはあの百姓たちだ。わしたちではない。